The House voted 424-1 to approve a resolution rejecting white supremacy and white nationalism. It was unanimous. The lone holdout was African-American Democrat Bobby Rush of Illinois. He only voted against the resolution because he said it doesn't go far enough. Unanimous. That means even Steve King voted for it.
I've carefully studied every word in this resolution, and even though I'd add some more that are stronger language, I agree with the language in it. So I want to ask my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, let's vote for this resolution. I'm putting up a yes on the board here because what you say here is right, and it's true, and it's just.
King even defended himself.
That ideology never shows up in my head. I don't know how it could possibly come out of my mouth.
Whatever. Maybe Steve King doesn't really get what he says or why he says it. I don't care. On one level, it would make sense because bigotry is often born of ignorance. My argument is this is way bigger than Steve King. A Congress member who supports neo-Nazis tweets about not being able to restore our civilization with someone else's babies, characterizes migrants as drug runners with cantaloupe calves, well developed from hauling illicit drugs across the desert, which is, of course, BS. It is the message that must be attacked. And his defense that this is an assault of his First Amendment right is as ignorant as his not getting the meaning of his own message. Of course he has the right to say it. But that doesn't mean what he says is right, and it does not mean he gets to say it without criticism or consequence. The outrage is not the reaction, it is the reticence. The outrage is that it took this long for his party to step up and strip him of committee assignments, which does render him basically powerless. King's ideas are not original nor new. We had a similar situation to this almost 20 years ago. It was handled very differently and, frankly, better. Quickly, Trent Lott back then made a bigoted crack at a 100th birthday for Strom Thurmond, who had run early on as a segregationist. There was no social media back then, but the implication of those comments quickly turned into a firestorm. And President George W. Bush, Republican, soon followed Congress and publicly condemned the comments.
Recent comments by Senator Lott do not reflect the spirit of our country. Every day our nation was segregated was a day that America was unfaithful to our founding ideals.
Contrast that with our president now.
Who? I haven't been following it. I really haven't been following it.
Come on. We know that's not true. He has been following this, and the terrible part is he's been following in King's footsteps. Trump shares beliefs with King, doesn't he? I hate to say it, but it's true. King even defended himself by saying, wait a minute, you know what I am? I'm a nationalist. The same stained term our president uses for himself, laced with bigotry and false preference. What is new is this not so subtle encouragement of people who believe this bigoted BS, allowing them to get mouthy again. Our leaders have traditionally, in the modern era at least, like Bush, shouted down bigotry, let haters know there are not some good people among them, that there is not a both sides kind of blame on these issues, that the different are not to be demonized. This country is peopled by those who rarely look alike, but believe as one that we will all be treated the same. That's our national religion, the laws that guarantee our equality. E pluribus unum, one out of many. The president will get no pass on this, at least not for me. I get that he's compromised, going after Obama's birth, the Central Park Five. That was then. And I get that he has been a disciple of King's xenophobia and that he has used the highest perch in the world to encourage the worst to be first when it comes to spreading this toxic message. And all of that is precisely why we must come forward. Either the president should own that he agrees with King or he must condemn the message. You say you're a fighter. Show us what you're made of, Mr. President, because the silence is deafening. On this crap, what we ignore, we empower. This took too long, and in delaying it, you and your party took us back. People, certainly in the media, are often too quick to jump on what this president says, right? You guys complain about it all the time. Well, then don't be satisfied with his silence here. Don't move on. Don't get distracted. This issue matters as much or more than Mueller, Barr, even the shutdown. Why? This is about who we are and what we would die for. America must always stand as an active opponent to bigotry. What King says that he speaks about without understanding, we all get the reality of it. And we get why the president is quiet. And it cannot be tolerated, especially not from a president. Not now, not ever. The president must do his job. And as John Kasich said earlier tonight, that is to lead. That is to give this country hope and to remind us as our greatest ideals. And I know some of you are saying, that's not what Trump's about. He believes what King believes. That's not who he is. Too bad. That's his job. And he disagrees with you. He says he's not about bigotry. Then why the heck is he so quiet now? This shouts out for his voice. It shouts out for leadership. Don't think it's one and done. It's one congressman. It isn't. This country is a matrix of minorities. His words echo, they redound to African Americans, Latinos, anybody with an ethnic background, LGBT, anybody who feels less than. This country is about uniting, and it has to happen now at the top.